Welcome into another edition of Friar Territory. Kyle Glaser here, going solo today. Heath Bell will join us on Friday for an exclusive interview with Jake Cronenworth. Make sure and tune into that episode. But as for the here and now, the Padres dropped the series finale today to the Seattle Mariners 4-3 as a late comeback attempt fell short. As such, the Padres lost yet another road series. This is something that we have talked about a lot on this show and something that is very, very, very important for the Padres to fix. And realistically, right now, the one thing that is really holding them back from being able to confidently say, yes, this is a team that can win the World Series. The Padres, as we know, are one of the best teams in baseball at home. They are 43-22 at Petco Park. On the road following today's loss, they are 32-37. And what this equates to over 162 games really shows the stark difference in the quality of baseball the Padres play at home versus on the road. At home, their winning percentage is equivalent to a 107 win team. On the road, their winning percentage is equivalent to a 75 win team. And we see this is really an issue that is magnified against the winning teams, the good teams. The Padres really struggle to go into an opponent's house and win when that opponent is above 500 or in playoff position. With this series loss to the Mariners, the Padres have lost 10 of their 11 road series versus winning teams this year. The only road series they won versus a winning team was against the Milwaukee Brewers. So it was a good one. That was back in early June. But we've seen throughout the season, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Mariners, the Tigers, the Astros, all the teams who are in playoff contention, all the teams who have winning records, the Yankees as well. The Padres have not been able to come away with a road series victory. And this is one of those things that is so critical for a team to be able to do in order to win a World Series. You have to be able to win games on the road against good teams. And especially if the Padres are going to not have home field advantage, which is very, very likely when you consider the Brewers are running away with the top seed. They're going to have home field advantage throughout the National League playoffs. The Phillies are fairly securely in the number 2 seed for now, though that could change. Whether the Padres end up winning the division and getting the number 3 spot, or if they end up a wild card and get the number 4 or 5 spot, they're going to have to go on the road at some point, barring some crazy turn of events. And that's something that for the Padres, they have to figure out how to master this, how to win games on the road against good teams if they want to be World Series champions. And I'm not just saying that, hyperbolically. Over the last 10 years, only one World Series champion has had a losing record on the road. That was the 2023 Texas Rangers, and they were one game under 500. So it was very, very close. It wasn't a situation like the Padres where they're 5 games under 500, and they've been around that all year. And not just to win the World Series, but even to get to the World Series. The last 20 teams to reach the World Series, only 2 had losing records on the road. The aforementioned 2023 Texas Rangers and the 2022 Philadelphia Phillies. So once again, the Padres, let's be very, very clear, are a very, very, very good team. This pitching staff is top 10 in baseball and has been top 5 in baseball for most of the year in virtually every category: ERA, strikeouts, whip, opponent's average. And that's with a lot of their starters either being injured or not pitching to their potential, not being their best selves. This lineup, once again, really, really struggled early, but since the trade deadline, they've been the top half of baseball in runs scored. We have seen this offense take a big step forward. Again, they're closer to middle of the pack than they are the top of the league, but it's better. They were 24th pre-trade deadline. They're 14th post-trade deadline, pending the outcome of some games tonight. So it's been a big improvement. And we know how good this bullpen is. That's the biggest factor behind the Padres having one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. But a lot of their starters, they had a lot of guys step up early in the year, and for the most part, they're top half in baseball in most starting pitcher categories as well. So this is a good team, once again, that is right there in the division race. They are 1.5 games back of the Dodgers following this afternoon's loss. Pending the outcome of the Dodgers finale against the Reds tonight, they'll either be still 1 game back or it'll be 2 games back. They've been in first place late in this season. They've been in playoff position pretty much all season. So this is a good team. And I want to be clear about that. We're not talking about a team that has some giant problem that it means they're a bad team. Nothing of the sort. But to be a World Series contender, not just to win, but to even get there, we have seen historically, you have to be able to win on the road. Again, only 2 of the last 20 teams to reach the World Series had a losing record on the road, and both those 2022 Phillies and 2023 Texas Rangers were 40-41, one game under 500. So we've established this is a problem for the Padres. They have to fix this, because if you can't beat good teams on the road, you're not going to go very far in the playoffs. It's that simple. The question is, how can they fix this? Because we know this is a problem. It's one thing to identify the problem, it's another to fix the problem. And it's really important to look at where this is coming from, why the Padres are struggling so much on the road. And I think a lot of people would naturally assume it has to do with the offense, because that has been the weak point of this team throughout the season. Interestingly enough, their offensive performance at home and on the road is actually very, very, very similar. Padres are actually hitting slightly better on the road, 252 compared to 250. Their OPS is a little bit lower, but it's roughly the same. It's both in the low 700s. Their runs per game, they are scoring a little more at home, but again, it's not a big difference. Home and road, the offense has been very, very, very similar. What we're seeing is the pitching has been much, much, much worse on the road than it has been at home. The Padres have a 3.12 ERA at home. After today's loss to the Mariners, they have a 4.07 ERA on the road, almost a full run higher on the road. And it's really been concentrated in the starters, in the starting pitching. We've talked so much about how when the Padres are healthy and when they're right, they have a chance to have one of the best rotations in baseball. The problem is some of their horses are not performing well on the road at all. Yu Darvish, who we saw last only 4 innings today, gave up a big 3-run homer, put the Padres in a 4-run hole again, has a 7.86 ERA in 6 road starts since coming off the injured list. Dylan Cease, we talked so much about his struggles this year. At home, he's actually been a solid pitcher. On the road, he's 0-8 with a 5.81 ERA. We saw him fail to hold a 5-0 Padres lead in the second game of the series against the Mariners. And this is where the Padres are going to have to make adjustments and make it quickly. They need their key starters, their horses, the guys that they expect to lead them into the postseason and take the ball in game 1 or game 2 of a playoff series, to be able to pitch better on the road. Nick Pavetta's done just fine, and realistically, he deserves to be the Padres' #1 starter come postseason time. He has been better at home than on the road, but again, his overall road numbers are totally fine. Nestor Cortez has actually pitched okay on the road since coming over, but again, Darvish, Cease, a couple of their other starters they've put in there have not been as effective on the road as they have been at home, and it has really, really hurt the Padres, and frankly is the biggest reason why they have struggled to win games on the road. And we saw that this series. Once again, in the opener, they had a 4-1 lead, couldn't hold it. In the second game, they were up 5-0, blew it, rallied to win. The bullpen held it down. And in the finale, they fell behind 4-0. And we know that this offense has to manufacture runs. This is kind of an offense that scores 1 run at a time, 2 runs at a time. This isn't an offense, even with their additions that we have seen, is capable of having those big 5, 6, 7-run innings like we see some of the other explosive offenses in baseball have, like a Cubs, like a Diamondbacks even, like a Dodgers when they're healthy. Being put in a 4-0 hole is just not a winning formula for this team. So when you have early leads in the first 2 games and you blow both of them, and then you fall behind early in the finale, it's very, very, very difficult for any team to win. And realistically, if you're the Padres right now, this is something you have to address aggressively and head on if you want to get the best seeding possible in the postseason, whether that's winning the division or finishing the top wildcard spot. But most importantly, for the Padres to have a chance to get to the World Series, which is their goal, and they absolutely have the talent to do so, they're going to have to fix this. Once again, they have lost 10 of 11 road series against teams with winning records. We're going to take a quick break. We will break down the series even further after this word from our sponsors. We've got a lot of good stuff still to come here on Friar Territory.
Okay, KP, this is your first Arena Club experience. We're going to open a slab pack together. So first off, we're going to buy one of those $25 slab packs, and we get to see what is in the pack. There it is. The Grail, which is the best card in the pack and worth the most. There are some other cards that we're chasing, and you can see the entire lineup so that you know what you're in the running for. There's the Yamamoto signed card. Now, let's open up our pack and see how we do. We have ourselves a really cool graphic, and then a Shohei Ohtani 50-50 card from last year. What do you want to do? Should we sell it right back to them for 16 or should we keep it?
You should give it to me. I'll keep it.
Good answer. Fine, I will give it to you. Since the Blue Jays didn't get Ohtani, you can get this 50-50 card instead. Use the code FOUL, F-O-U-L, to get yourself 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. Yes, you get to keep that card if you want it. They send it to you. FOUL at arenaclub.com/foul.
All right, back here on Friar Territory. Kyle Glaser here, going solo today once again. We talked about the Padres and their road struggles, but I do want to focus on some of the good things that happened this series. We saw some really, really promising developments, and I think some things that you can take away from this series and say, hey, it did not go the way we wanted it to. It did not end with a series win over a good competitive team, but there are some little wins that you can take and say, okay, maybe this is something that we can build on moving forward. And first and foremost among those is Fernando Tatis Jr. We saw him end the longest home run drought of his career in the second game, hit a 416-foot shot off of Bryce Miller into right center. And overall, Tatis had some very, very big moments this series, had 2 doubles as well as that homer, including a double today to bring the Padres within a run in the 9th, then stole third base. Ultimately, Ramon Laureano grounded out and he was stranded. But again, we're starting to see Fernando Tatis Jr. really start to pick some things up. And he has been a lightning rod in a lot of ways this year. I know there are a lot of fans out there who have not been happy with him. They're saying, where's the power production? Where's the MVP level player we saw early this season? But I think singling out Fernando Tatis Jr. as the source of the Padres' problems really misses a lot of the point. Going back to July 1st, and again, Fernando Tatis Jr., we know he absolutely struggled badly in May and June. Since July 1st, he's hitting .274 with a .405 on-base percentage and a .419 slugging percentage. It's an .824 OPS. Again, the slug has not been what most people want it to be and what this offense could certainly use. Only 3 home runs in almost 2 full months now. But the guy hitting .274 with 16 doubles and an OPS over 800 while playing great defense in right field and still stealing bases. He has 10 stolen bases over this span as well. That's not the guy who's the problem. And I think seeing him hit that home run, we're just seeing Fernando Tatis Jr. again, more consistently start to come around, get better pitches to hit. He's not chasing. He's making more consistent contact. And we are starting to see him drive the ball more and more. Again, that home run to right center, his double to right center as well. When you see him really using the whole field and driving the ball the opposite way with authority, that's a really, really good sign. So I do think Fernando Tatis Jr., we are starting to see the best version of him continue to come out a little bit. Again, he's not there yet, but I do think it's important to give him credit. Again, a lot of people have been kind of haranguing him. We see it all on social media. We see a lot of the talk about how, in some cases, I've seen people say he's washed. Nothing could be further from the truth. He's starting to get better. We saw him break his home run drought during the series. And if he can get hot in September and continue to play like he has been playing and carry this team to the top wildcard spot in the National League or the division title, we're going to stop hearing about all the complaining. He has been very, very good since July 1st. And realistically, he was very good the first month of the season as well. He's had 2 bad months. Every single player in baseball has a season where they have a bad month or 2. It's going to happen. Overall, when you look at what he did, April, July, now August, he's had more good months than bad months. We'll see if he's able to keep it up, but this was a really, really good start today. I also want to focus on the left-handed production the Padres are getting. Jake Cronenworth hit 500 in this series. We saw a double and a homer out of him. Gavin Sheets has continued to rake since moving back into the everyday lineup. He again hit 400 this series, had a double and a homer again. Ryan O'Hearn continues to hit the ball hard. He had a double again. So we're seeing some left-handed impact from the Padres, and that's really, really important because we've seen at times this year the guys who are doing the most damage. Again, it's been Manny Machado. It's been Tatis when he's right. Ramon Laureano, since he came over, obviously has been a big, big part of it. Xander Bogaerts since mid-June. Again, most of the Padres' best, most productive hitters have been from the right side. Jackson Merrill has struggled and been injured. But Gavin Sheets coming back into the everyday lineup in light of Jackson Merrill's injury and hitting from the outset and really being arguably the Padres' most productive hitter in that time frame. Jake Cronenworth, we've talked about, has been so much better since the trade deadline because he actually has some players around him in the lineup who can protect him a little bit. He's getting much better pitches to hit, and he's driving them with authority. And Ryan O'Hearn, again, he got off to a little bit of a slow start statistically, but if you really drilled down and watched, he was having great at-bats. He was making a lot of hard contact. it was just hard outs. Now we've started to see more and more of the production come. And again, now with this, you have a more balanced Padres lineup. We've talked about the balance all season long in terms of what they have 1 through 5 versus 6 to 9, but also having that right-left balance is really, really key. And there have been times this year where they have not had a ton of impactful hitting from the left side. Again, Luis Arias, we know he's a great contact hitter, doesn't provide a lot of power. Jackson Merrill going through his struggles, having his injuries. And again, Jake Cronenworth was having an okay-ish year, but not the year you really wanted him to have the first half of the season, in part because he didn't have anyone hitting behind him. Now, with threats around him, we're starting to see Jake Cronenworth really, really flourish. He did so again in this series. And I think moving forward for the Padres, these are significant positives you can take. And once again, we've seen the A bullpen do its job in their lone win on Tuesday. Jason Adams served up a big home run to Eugenio Suarez, but you saw everyone else come in to pick him up. Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada, Mason Miller, Robert Suarez getting the job done. There are some good things to take away from this series. It's not an all-is-lost situation. And once again, depending on the outcome of the Dodgers game tonight, the Padres will either be 1 game back in the NL West or 2 games back in the NL West. So this series loss by no means is something that's going to derail their entire season. But once again, they need to continue finding ways to win on the road, as we have seen them do in spurts this year against the sub-500 teams. But against the teams with winning records, it's been a little rough. The good news for the Padres is their next road series comes against the Minnesota Twins, who traded away 40% of their major league roster at the trade deadline. It's a prime opportunity for the Padres to improve their road record and get a few wins before returning home to Petco Park. We will see if they're able to do that. We're going to take another quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, then we'll be right back to wrap everything up. The dog days of summer means MLB is fully heating up, and so is your shot to score big. Download the Pick6 app for the easiest way to turn your baseball takes into actual cash. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. No gimmicks, no weird rules, and get this. All new Pick6 customers will instantly get $50 in bonus picks on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick6 app right now and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL. New customers play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks instantly. Ride the upside, where a few bucks can turn into a bag. Only on DraftKings Pick6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. 8/24/25 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, welcome back to Friar Territory. Kyle Glaser here, wrapping up this Wednesday afternoon show. The Padres are now going into the part of their schedule where they have a chance to take off and make up for whatever struggles they've had on the road. The Padres have 9 series remaining this year. 6 of them come against teams with losing records. The only series they have remaining against teams with winning records at this point, they have a home series against the Reds, September 8th through 10th, a road series at the Mets, September 16th through 18th, and a home series against the Brewers, September 22nd through 24th. All around those, you have series against the Twins, the Orioles, 2 series against the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the White Sox. The Padres have one of the softest schedules in baseball from now until the end of the season. So the opportunity is ripe for them to go out and frankly win this division. We've talked about the Dodgers don't have the toughest schedule in the world, but their schedule is tougher. They play 13 games. They play 7 games against the Giants. They have a series against the Phillies. They have some tough series coming up. The Padres certainly have the edge when it comes to strength of schedule moving forward, not just into September, but beginning here at the end of August. And with that, now it just comes down to executing, and that starts this weekend in Minnesota. The Twins, of course, traded away 10 players off their major league roster at the trade deadline, nearly 40% of their roster. They did get some good young talent back. You look at a Taj Bradley, you look at a Mick Abel, and there are still some players on this team who can hurt you. At the same time, this is a sub-500 team. That was a seller. These are the kind of series the Padres have to win if they want to be division champions. We will see if they're able to execute. We have talked about this a lot, that this team does not pitch well on the road, nearly as well as they do at home at Petco Park. They need to turn it around, and this is the time to do so. They go up against the Twins. Their next road series after this is the Rockies. Then they're home for a big stretch. They go to the Mets, and I think that's going to be a very, very interesting series at Citi Field because the Mets should be fighting for their playoff lives at that point, and realistically could be competing with the Padres for a wild card spot, depending on where the Mets are in the standings and how they're playing. That's going to be another test series for the Padres. It's their final road series against a team with a winning record. And this is where they need to show improvement. This is where they need to show, yes, we can go into a winning team's house and come out with a series win. If they can't do it, if they look back on their season and say, we've lost 11 of 12 road series against teams with winning records, and they don't have home field advantage throughout the National League playoffs, it starts to get tough seeing the road to a World Series. Again, they would start needing other teams ahead of them getting knocked out, and maybe fortune would favor them and they'd come out. We know they can beat anyone at home. In a single game in a series, the Padres have shown they can beat anyone at home. But they've got to figure things out on the road. That starts this upcoming weekend against the Minnesota Twins, and it will continue. They come home for 3 games against the Orioles. Then they go to the Rockies, who, in fairness, have been playing better recently. It's never easy going into Coors Field. We all know that that place can be a house of horrors where you can have a 7-run lead and it can disappear in an instant. Something the Padres are going to have to take care of, especially considering their starting pitcher struggles on the road. Then they come back home for a long stretch, 7 games against the Reds and Rockies, then 7 games on the road again, starting with that 3-game series at the Mets. 6 games on the road, 3 games against the Mets and 3 games at the White Sox. The test is coming up. We'll see if the Padres are able to pass it and show that they are capable of winning enough games on the road to be a World Series contender. This has been another edition of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. Go ahead and give us a review, like, subscribe, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever platform you're watching or listening on. We would love to hear from you. Once again, I'll be back with Heath Bell on Friday with an exclusive interview with Jake Cronenworth. We're going to talk about everything from his development across his career as a member of the Padres to how the at-bats he's having and the pitches he's seeing have changed since the trade deadline, to Manny Machado as a leader, to Mike Schultz as a manager. Jake has been a Padre for 6 seasons now. He's the 3rd longest tenured member of the Padres, behind only Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. So we have a lot of good stuff to get into with him. Make sure and tune into that episode. Once again, this has been another edition of Friar Territory. I'm Kyle Glaser. We'll see you on Friday.